Hello there, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Today we're going to be watching and reacting to this video right here. How one Indian chef changed the culinary world forever. Now, I'm just going to be upfront and honest with you. I don't know how to pronounce this gentleman's name, so I will just say go and check out the channel. The link to the video will be in the description down below. But this video was recommended to me before I took my break. So I'm trying. I got a lot to get through. I got a lot to get through on the reaction side of things. But yeah, how one Indian chef changed the culinary world forever. I think this is in relation to, without reading the synopsis here in the description, I think this is in relation to the chef that brought Indian food to the UK. Let me go ahead and read this here. Long before Gordon Ramsay or Julia Child, the world's very first celebrity chef was an Indian chef you probably never heard of, Ranji Smile. Born in British India in the late 1800s, Ranji cooked his way from colonial kitchens to New York's high society, dazzling America with exotic flavors and royal costumes and scandalous charm. But behind the fame was a story of lies, ambition, immigration struggles, and cultural clash. Okay, wow, this guy seems pretty. The guy's story seems pretty intense. In this video, we uncover the unbelievable rise and fall of the chef who changed the culinary world forever and put Indian cuisine on the global map, became a media sensation, and yet was erased from history. Whoa. If you love strange, hidden, and forgotten stories from history, this one is one you don't want to miss. Okay, I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. Again, guys, link to this particular video will be in the description down below. Also, got to do that little plug every YouTuber does. Remember to like, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, leave a comment down below. I try to read through them. Also, go and check out my gaming channel. Link to the gaming channel is also going to be in the description. So, without any further ado, I say let's get right into it, yeah?
I love that question. He was definitely a real person, and I've got the documentation to prove it. I know, the story is rather fantastical because he was one of the most famous people in America from what was then India, and he was famous for cooking Indian food.
Quick question. When I say celebrity chef, who do you think
of? Andrew Zimmerman. The one guy from the famous sushi restaurant in Japan, but I can't remember. I guess Gordon Ramsay. I don't know. I don't actually pay attention to celebrities, even in the chef world.
Some of you may be thinking of Gordon Ramsay's rage or Julia Child's sweetness. Some of you, especially the 90s kids from India, might be having flashbacks to that little twinkle in your mom's eye when Sanjeev Kapoor used to appear on TV. And some of you are thinking of how you have this massive man crush on Marco Pierre White.
But I'm a home cook now, not a professional cook.
I don't know who this person is. Is it? No. Is this the person who taught Gordon Ramsay? I think this is Gordon Ramsay's teacher, right? I don't know. What is he doing?
Okay.
Okay.
No, just me.
What was the question?
Man crush on Marco Pierre White.
But I'm a home cook now, not a professional cook. Okay.
Man crush.
No, just
you know what celebrity chef? James May. That's a celebrity chef I know.
Me on that last one. Okay, moving on. I bet, however, that none of you thought about this guy.
Yeah,
His
I don't know.
name was Ranji Smile. This man was born in pre-partition India in the 1800s. A dark, mysterious chef from the subcontinent who cooked his way to America, seduced New York's high society, married and divorced a string of American models and actresses, and at a time when Indians were colonized and people of color were seen as less than humans in America, he somehow fooled Americans.
That's a pretty big statement. People of color seen as less than humans. I mean, in the late 1800s, maybe in the deep South, but the majority of America at the time, specifically the North, where it sounds like he was in New York, that's a completely different story.
Into making him their national sweetheart. But more importantly, he was a magically good cook who almost single-handedly made Indian cuisine popular in the West. Today, celebrity chefs are quite common, but you see, it all started with him, because over 100 years ago, this man became the world's first celebrity chef. Today, I am going to tell you the mind-blowing and little-known story of exactly how he did that. My name is Tirthak Saha, and you are watching Under the Radar.
Tirthak Saha. Wow, look at this intro. Whoa, so fancy.
This is
Under
a
the
series
radar.
that was made possible by the 01 Network.
I don't know what the 01 Network is.
Our story doesn't start in some fancy American restaurant. No, it starts in colonial British India.
Potentially the richest part of the empire is the great subcontinent of India, for nearly 2 centuries a British problem. Though before the British
For nearly 2 centuries, a British problem. Wow.
continent of India, for nearly 2 centuries a British problem. Though before the British conquest, the Indian people had never known anything but hopeless poverty, wars and oppression.
What the fuck? That's wild. That's a wild statement. A very ignorant and wild statement. Wow.
What? You know what? Compartmentalization. I'm not going to engage. Let's get back to today's video. Over the past...
I'll engage. Holy shit, dude. I mean, that is some like serious propaganda work right there. I mean, it just shows how the ignorance of a lot of people are. It's really unfortunate how ignorant a lot of like Western society was towards, and still is towards, India, pre-British colonization. Well, what can we do but keep continuing to reiterate just how advanced and how rich in culture India has been for thousands of years.
Few months, I've been diving deep into archives, trying to find out more about Ranji's origins. And that's where the mystery actually starts. Because a lot of what is known and reported about him was actually reported by him to the newspapers and media after he had already become a celebrity. And turns out, he lied a lot. For starters, his last name is most probably not Smile. I mean, come on. It was probably something like Ismail, which he anglicized for his Gora clients. And you know what? To be fair to him, it is a killer stage name. Kind of like how Akshay Kumar is a much more brandable name than Rajiv Hari Om Bhatia. Yeah, that's his actual real birth name, in case you didn't know. And this is important because we actually see this habit of his of giving himself fake names and fake titles come into play later in the story as well. But that second time will be an outright international level scam. Oh yeah, things are about to get spicy. Just wait. But here's the one thing that we do know. Approximately. Records indicate that he may have been born on 11th May 1879, somewhere around the Karachi region in pre-partition India. And that's about it. The rest has been swept away by history, or probably Ranji himself. Like many modern-day celebs, he also probably didn't want many details known about his real past. And so, we need to do some reverse engineering and pick up the story from where the actual, verifiable facts begin. London.
The curry connection.
In the 1800s, the subcontinental cuisine had started skyrocketing in popularity in England, mostly thanks to British military officials, soldiers, and politicians who would return home from their posts in colonial India and start missing the taste of Indian food. Because, well, let's face it, mashed potatoes and beans don't really measure up to, well, any Indian dish.
Wait a minute. Mashed potatoes can be pretty good. That's slander towards mashed potatoes, and beans are delicious. Beans are absolutely scrumptious. It's all about how you prepare it, how you cook it, how you season it, right? Yeah, people do tend to make some pretty bland mashed potatoes, but if you go out of your way to actually make it taste good, a good mashed potato goes a long way. Now, that being said, I think like traditional British food, even in my opinion, is pretty I'll try to be nice. It's slightly below average is how nice I'm gonna say it. Yeah, I will admit British food is kind of. I mean, they got some bangers though, but yeah. I mean, it's that I will not allow slander towards mashed potatoes.
And as the desire to have Indian and subcontinental food started to grow in England, a lot of Indians started taking advantage of this fact and set up Indian restaurants across the UK.
That's pretty cool.
In fact, in 1811, this man named Sheikh bin Mohammed established the first ever Indian-owned restaurant in London. He called this Hindustani Coffee House. And
I
because
think
this
I
restaurant
think this is the person I was thinking about. So I know about this person who established the first Indian restaurant, but this is not the same person as Ranji Smile.
did well, really well, it showed that there was a real demand for subcontinental food in the West. And so, thousands of people from the subcontinent started flocking to England to try their luck as cooks and chefs. And amongst these thousands, there was one particularly talented young man, dark skin, sharp features, and blessed with an ability to cook like a magician. And unlike the countless colonized subjects who were toiling away in English kitchens like invisible laborers, this one caught the attention of some very important people. And that is how young Ranji Smile got his first big break, being able to work at some of the most elite establishments in the country, like the Savoy and later the Cecil, which was the largest in Europe at the time. And here is where he caught his second big break. An American called Louis Sherry was visiting England and he was having dinner at the Cecil when he got hooked onto Ranji's cooking. And then Louis had an idea that would make history. You see, Louis himself owned a very prestigious restaurant back in New York on Fifth Avenue. It was an elite establishment that catered to America's high society. But obviously, his wasn't the only one. And competition in the restaurant business is, and always has been, extremely cutthroat. So he needed something that the others didn't have. A sensation. And
they didn't have Ranji Smile. They probably didn't have Indian food either. Early 1900s. Yeah, I don't think Indian food was probably too prominent of a thing in New York.
What better marketing gimmick than a magician-like handsome, mystical, oriental chef to spice up things at his Fifth Avenue restaurant? And so, in 1899, Sherry made Ranji an offer he couldn't refuse. Come work for me and I'll make you a star. And so, Ranji Smile set sail for the land of opportunity, America. And Sherry kept his promise. After reaching New York, he didn't push Ranji into the kitchen or give him some obscure assistant role. No, he gave him complete control of his prestigious restaurant. But
That's
if you're
pretty
thinking
cool.
that Ranji was satisfied with this incredible once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and, he just stirred the pots in the kitchen and let his food do the talking, no. As you're about to find out, Ranji Smile was playing a game way ahead of his time.
The Enigma from the East. Wow, look at these chapter titles. They're wonderful.
In a year like 1901, in a place like America, Ranji Smile was perfect. Exotic, mysterious, but harmless. Americans were loving his Indian costume, his flashy turban, his pearly white teeth with the smooth brown skin and the dark hair. But most importantly, they loved his seductive, polite, submissive manners. He was exactly the kind of immigrant that they were looking for. Glamorous enough to entertain them, but safely held within the walls of an establishment where they could come and stare at him like some circus act. Not a real and equal member of their society.
Again, in New York, that's where, at least in this time frame, they were a lot more open to people of color. Now, sure, if you were to go to the South, he would probably have a lot more issues, but in the North, there weren't issues at all.
The American press went
At least at around this time frame.
crazy for him. Journalists started writing about him extensively, calling him for interviews and photo shoots. But the problem was that these interviews and articles barely talked about his food. And even though his adaptation of the Indian cuisine for American palates and tastes was a significant culinary achievement, no one wanted to talk about that. There were no deep dives into the complexity of his spice blends or his mastery of rice. No technical breakdowns of the complex dishes that he was creating, like curry of chicken madras, Bombay duck, lettuce Ceylon, murgi rai, or Musky Sindh. Instead, you got headlines like, hey, this is me from the future. I was going to read out those newspaper headlines to you from the archives, but then I had a better idea.
You are a historian.
I sure am.
Now I'm not going to use your incredible knowledge of Western history. I'm actually, you do voices, right?
I do.
Perfect. And you have no context, I know, but I would like you to read these newspaper headlines out.
I'm ready. Okay. In my best transatlantic for you. New York woman. Nope, I messed up already. I have dyslexia, okay? New York women go wild.
I do too. It's fair. I mean, I think it's a lot more. Well, okay. Is it truly dyslexia or is it other deeper issues? I don't know.
Over Indian chef. What? I feel mildly uncomfortable reading this. Clear, dark skin. brilliant black eyes, smoothest black hair, and the whitest of teeth.
Why is
Okay.
why is that uncomfortable to read?
Okay. All right.
It's just features.
It's
You
his
do see why I didn't want to read this out on camera instead.
I understand why I'm here now. Okay. Prince Ranji Smile, chef, copper colored, can cook. He's a prince, and his princess is a dream. Why did you make me do this? I need context. What is happening?
That was my friend and historian Tea Nakamura, who has a fantastic YouTube channel herself, which you should definitely check out. Okay, back to our story.
Holy heck. Okay, so he has a lot of websites. He's got a lot of sources here. He has an interview with Sarah. Okay, so that's it right there. Okay, it is linked in his description.
And the page 3 style media frenzy that Ranji now finds himself in. But to his credit, Ranji didn't see this as an insult, but rather as an opportunity, and he leaned into it hard. He gave them exactly what they wanted. A performance. He would arrive at the restaurant immaculately dressed in long robes and a turban like some magician from the East. And when he was serving food to his patrons, he would regale them with tales of royal feasts back home and secret recipes stolen from emperors' courts. He staged dramatic cooking exhibitions, swirled his robes, and spoke in mystical riddles. And this is so funny. I'm going to try to keep a straight face. He also claimed that eating his food would make America's women more beautiful, with eyes like polished jewels and figures like the beautiful women from India. Wow. And as you'll see later, this kind of marketing, along with his own good looks, made him very popular with the ladies. But what he forgot was that bigger the lie, bigger the target. And soon, it would all start collapsing in on itself.
The Smile Falters,
After a while,
dude. That's a good chapter title.
His kitchen had become so popular that now he needed help to keep it running smoothly. And by help, I mean cheap immigrant labor. And so he cooked up a grand plan. He would go back to his motherland, the same place that he had been distancing himself from for the last few years in search of better opportunities and a new identity. And he would bring back a team of servants and cooks from his native village. And so he came back to pre-partition India to scout for good cooks that he could lure away from the land with the promise of great riches and opportunity. And turns out he easily convinced a bunch of people. After all, he now himself had riches, fame, and access to the land of opportunity. But as was customary in those days, if you wanted to travel from the subcontinent to America, you first had to make a stop midway. And so Ranji Smile found himself back in his old haunting grounds, the place that had first launched him, London. And when he was spotted getting off the ship in London with 26 other random Indians, with himself wearing his outlandish clothes, the rumors started. Rumors of him being an Indian prince with many attendants. And as we've already...
An Indian prince of Balochistan? Wow. How fancy.
Started. Rumors of him being an Indian prince with many attendants. And as we've already seen, Ranji Smile loved giving himself fake names and grand titles. And so, not only did he not refute the rumors, he actually fanned the flames himself. And just like that, overnight, he transformed himself into Prince Ranji Smile, the fourth son of the Emir of Balochistan, a Cambridge University graduate, and apparently besties with King Edward VI.
Bro, he went off the rails. That's wild. I wonder, like, what his caste was. I know, like, I don't ascribe to, casteism and stuff like that, but it was pretty prominent during this time, right? I wonder what his caste was.
Sixth. Why not? And the press was doing what the press has always done. They started cooking up wild stories about him, like how he was coming back from India after having just claimed his father's large inheritance, that he was now rich beyond belief. And of course, he never corrected them. See, the branding exercise which he had started many years ago was now complete. The problem was that the rumors now had become so big that the India office in England had to actually put out a statement clarifying that no such prince existed, that title was fake. And when asked about this directly, Smile, charismatic as ever, just laughed and waved it away as a misunderstanding. He said to the journalist,
I mean, he could just say it's his stage name. I mean, a lot of people, call themselves kings or princes and queens and whatnot as a stage name. I don't know, like, during this time frame, if that was a thing or not, but now it is.
No, it's not a title. It's just what my father named me. What? But it didn't really matter. At that point, the reputation had been built and the title just sort of stuck, and he was now forever Prince Ranji Smile. But as soon as he started thinking that he was finally over the finish line, it all went to shit.
The Curry Conman. What a wonderful chapter title. The Curry Conman. Wow.
At first, it was the small stuff, lies that were finally catching up to him back in America. Whispers that Ranji wasn't actually a prince, rumors that his royal stories from back home didn't quite add up. And so, the same gossip columns that had built his legend up now started tearing it down. But this was all fun and games, small stuff. Then came something much bigger and much more serious. Turns out, when Ranji had come over to America, he hadn't done it legally. And what was worse is that
That's not good. Listen, if you're going to go anywhere, do it legally. Illegal immigration is bad.
since then, he had brought over dozens of other Indians, also illegally,
Oh my God.
promising them restaurant jobs that just did not exist. Remember the 26 Indian attendants that he was seen with in London that he was bringing over from India? Yeah, that's them. Yeah, that's not a good look. And when questioned, Ranji did what he always did. He performed. He started claiming that the men were just tourists, that they were coincidentally traveling with him. But sadly for him, this time, his charm didn't work. He suddenly went from celebrated genius chef to cautionary immigrant tale.
Ranji Smile claims he was drugged and robbed? What? Prince of some rentance, I don't know what that says, taken to Ellis Island. Supreme Court of the State of New York County of Queens May Smile, also known as May Smile, plaintiff against Ranji Smile, defendant summons action. Oh, is that May? Is that one of his ex-wives or something? Weird. Well, I mean, if you get married to someone, I mean, I don't know how how it was back then, but if you get married to someone that has citizenship, you at least get like a green card, right? So you don't become a citizen, but you can be technically a legal resident. But obviously, something, it wasn't the same process back then.
But the nail in Ranji's coffin was actually his romantic reputation. Over the past few years, along with his exploits in the culinary world, he had also become famous for marrying and divorcing a string of white American models and actresses. And with him being brown and immigrant,
again, this was a thing that in the South, it was not a thing in New York.
This was a disaster that was just waiting to happen in the deeply racist America of the 1900s.
Again, this was prominent in the South.
And when the time came and the hammer finally dropped, the same people who had been entertained by him now crucified him. And almost overnight, his legend came crashing down. He went from prince to a curry conman. And Smile really tried his best to keep his reputation alive and stay in America, but the country that had made him had had enough of him. He was denied American citizenship in 1904 on the basis of an old law that didn't allow non-white people to become American citizens.
The intention was to confer the privilege of citizenship upon the class of persons whom the fathers knew as white, and to deny it all who cannot be so classified. It is not enough to say that the framers did not have in mind the brown or yellow races of Asia. What?
But the country that had made him had had enough of him. He was denied American citizenship in 1904 on the basis of an old law that didn't allow non-white people to become American citizens.
1904? I mean, this was after the Civil War, so like this is after like all the black people were freed and they became citizens. I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with this.
And when that didn't work, he even enrolled and offered to fight alongside American troops in the World War. Eventually, though,
This is the Vietnam War.
He even enrolled and offered to fight alongside
This is the Vietnam War.
American troops in the World War. Eventually, though, Ranji had to accept defeat. He knew that he had gone too far and that there was no coming back. And sometime in the 1920s, he seems to have packed up his bags and returned to his motherland. And
they go down under Africa, huh? Back then?
That's where the trail for this story goes cold. Maybe he started another restaurant here. Maybe he faded into obscurity. Maybe one day we'll find out more about his life once he was back home. But for now, the pages of history remain silent. And I wish I could leave you with a more concrete ending to the story and a take on Ranji Smile that satisfies our modern need for a black and white opinion on things. But I can't, and I won't. Because as I've said on this channel before, the complexity of these human stories is the point. Ranji's legend was equal parts sheer talent and fake marketing. He was both a visionary and a con man. If you're angry at certain people for using and throwing Ranji's smile away, please remember that there were also people who took a chance on him and built his career. And if you're angry at Ranji himself for trying to distance himself from his home country, forgetting his roots, and trying to game the immigration system in a new one, please remember the time he was living in. His home country was literally being colonized and destroyed. But if you still need a takeaway, here is one undeniable fact. Ranji Smile was a deeply flawed, insanely talented man who became the first true global celebrity chef.
Is this a copyrighted song? That sounds like a copyrighted song. I'll mute it. This was interesting. This is really interesting. I really like this story. It's crazy that he just kind of faded into obscurity. Is there no like follow up with like any of his, children or anything? I guess probably not if he wasn't able to find any of that information, yeah. I really like this video. Link to the video will be in the description down below, so please go and check it out. Ranji Smile, the Curry Con Man. God, that's got a nice ring to it. The Curry Con Man. Potentially could be construed as slightly racist, maybe. The Curry Con Man. Or no, okay, maybe not racist, but maybe stereotyping. I don't know. I like the title though. This is like the Curry Con Man. This is a good title. Where's it at? I want to see the title again. Oh well. It is what it is. I know it was there. It's in my memory. This is a good channel. The channel's criminally underrated. Story is wild. Still baffled how this channel just has 10,000 subs. What an amazing channel. Looking forward to seeing you build a 1 million+ subscriber channel. This is the fastest I've ever subscribed to a channel. How long does it take your team to make one video? A few months of research and writing. Couple of weeks for production and post-production. Holy heck. Check out the end credits. This video is a team composition. Yeah. I think I've seen him on a TED Talk before. He looks familiar. I'm pretty sure I've seen him on TED Talks before. Or like maybe like a TEDx talk. Kind of reminds me of a Nurset Aka, the Salt Bay. Salt Bay. Oh god, the Salt Bay. You're my man crush. Clearly, he reincarnated, went back to America, and was kicked out by MAGA. I mean, ICE is only kicking out illegal aliens, so what the hall isn't boys matching with the commentary in Dragon Ball? What? That is a wild comment. Did they divorce? Probably. How did you become a part of 01 Network at this early stage? Do you already have a big audience on other platforms? I don't use any, so I don't know. Content is great. I don't know. I don't know what 01 is. I've never heard of it. Olden times when Conman could be held accountable. I had thought nobody in India would make such videos like yours in my timeline. I've seen plenty. This is crazy. What? I've seen plenty of videos like this from people in India. What are you talking about? You exist and are very grateful for your existence. Hope you putting more historical accurate videos so that we know in the future that such things happen in the world where they erase history to hide some heinous agendas. May the force be with you. It's kind of cringe. I listen, Star Wars, ever since Disney bought it, it's cringe beyond belief. I like the channel. It was interesting. The content was interesting. It seemed very well researched. I mean, he even linked, I'm assuming these are his sources right here. It's pretty cool. I mean, that's really, really awesome. I like it. Ranji smile, the curry con man. That's crazy. All right, guys. Link to this video, description down below. Link to my gaming channel in the description down below. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and I'll catch you on the next one, yeah? Take care. Goodbye.